The sun dipped below the icy horizon of the Laptop Sea, casting long shadows across the fractured ice. A lonely polar bear cub padded carefully over the brittle surface, trailing its mother, blissfully unaware of the brewing tempest. The wind began to wail, swirling flurries of snow into the dimming sky. Then, chaos struck. A sudden gust split the ice with a sharp crack. The cub tumbled backward, its tiny paws scrambling for purchase as the current tugged at the drifting slab beneath it. Its mother's frantic roars were lost in the howling storm, their distance growing with each passing second. The cub let out a desperate cry, but the wind snatched its voice away. Shivering and exhausted, the cub curled into a ball, its fur crusted with ice. The night stretched long and merciless, a battle between survival and despair. Then, through the blinding white haze, a flicker of light appeared. A cargo ship slicing through the frozen waters. Aboard the vessel, the Northwind, Captain Elias Mercer stood at the bridge, gazing through his binoculars at the treacherous seascape. Beside him, Nico Phelan, a seasoned deckhand, braced himself against the rail, his breath misting in the frigid air. Suddenly, his sharp eyes caught movement, something pale, drifting amid the ice. "Captain, look!" "Something's out there," Nico shouted, pointing to the shifting flow. Ilara Voss, the ship's engineer, hurried up from below deck at the commotion. Peering out, she gasped, "It's a cub. It won't last long in this cold." Elias didn't hesitate. "Prepare the nets and life gear. We're bringing it aboard." The Northwind maneuvered cautiously, inching closer to the fragile ice slab. Nico secured a rope, tossing the net toward the drifting cub. The small creature flinched, but then, as if sensing a sliver of salvation, stretched its weary limbs toward them. The waves rocked violently. Ilara steadied herself on the slippery deck as she reached out, her voice low and soothing. "Come on, little one. Hold on." The cub's claws barely clung to the frozen ledge, its strength nearly spent. Nico gritted his teeth and lunged, gripping the net tightly, hauling it in. Elias and Ilara joined him, their combined effort finally pulling the cub over the rail. The animal collapsed onto the deck, heaving for breath. Ilara swiftly wrapped it in a thick blanket, drying the frost from its fur. The cub trembled, but didn't fight. It was too weak. "We need to call the nearest wildlife station," Elias said, grabbing the radio. Static crackled in response. The storm had severed their connection to the outside world. Ilara knelt beside the cub, offering it bits of fish. It sniffed warily before nibbling. Its eyes, frightened yet trusting, flickered toward her. Nico sat nearby, watching in silence, his heart heavy with the weight of responsibility. The storm raged on through the night, but within the Northwind's warm confines, the cub found a fleeting sense of safety. As the first light of dawn kissed the ice, the crew finally caught a clear transmission. A rescue team was stationed on a distant floe, awaiting their arrival. With careful precision, Elias steered the ship toward the rendezvous point. Nico readied the small boat, while Ilara carried the cub onto the raft. The icy wind bit at her skin, but she shielded the fragile creature against her chest. "Hang on," she murmured, her voice almost lost in the breeze. "You're going home." Nico navigated through the frozen maze, the rising sun painting the ice in golden hues. As they neared the shore, silhouettes of rescuers emerged, waving in greeting. A flare shot into the sky, marking the end of their perilous journey. With reluctant hands, Ilara handed the cub over to the waiting team. The animal whimpered softly, nuzzling against her arm before it was gently lifted into caring hands. Elias watched from the ship, nodding in satisfaction. "We did good," he murmured. Back aboard the Northwind, the crew stood together in silence, watching the distant figures fade into the icy expanse. Nico exhaled, a small smile tugging at his lips. I think we'll always remember this one. Ilara gazed at the horizon, her fingers still warm from where the cub had nestled. Yeah, she whispered, we will. As the north wind resumed its journey, the ice stretched endlessly before them. But within the vast indifferent sea, they had carved out a moment of humanity, a beacon of warmth in the unforgiving cold.